to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. John Bedell.
Here.
Bill Holman.
Here.
Brian Madison.
Here.
Chad Wilson.
Here.
Dave Allen. Jeff Meyer.
Here. Okay, review and approve the minutes of the last month. April 23 meeting.
I will make a motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Okay. Jeff, what do you have? Do you have something for us? Nothing?
I thought, are you discussing the campground?
Nope. No.
Okay, then I'm leaving.
No.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Jeff, what's this thing about the site plan review?
About the what?
The site plan review.
For what?
The town keeps putting in their agenda, or in their,
The original draft of the short-term rental regulations was essentially a two-step process. One was it required site plan review for the use, and the second was once you have site plan approval for the use, you essentially need to register with the town and abide by, the certain rules that were in place. So, to the extent that they continue to talk about regulating short-term rentals, that's why the site plan review change is listed with it, because part of the regulation requires this board approve the use.
approve the site plan.
Correct.
And then
The
they,
use is approved, it's ensuring that it can be used safely, which is really just, you're looking at parking and septic is kind of the crux of it.
yeah,
What would you say, parking and?
parking and septic.
Parking and septic are like the biggest things, like screening and stuff, noise. It depends kind of where it is. If you're out in Hogtown, it's not as big of a deal as if you're on a 50-foot lot or on headlock.
Right.
Or out on Pilot Mountain.
Now, with the septic, how are you gonna, we don't inspect septic, so they have it inspected, or how's that gonna work?
Essentially, if it's a new house, the applicant needs to essentially prove what's in the ground and that it can safely handle the capacity that's being proposed.
So they're gonna have to hire somebody to go do that.
If it's an old system, yes. If it's a new system, no.
There should be paperwork on it anyways, if it's
Right.
new.
They have to go through the town for that anyhow.
Right, so if you have
That's kind of
County.
if you have a 4-bedroom house, there's probably a 1,200 gallon tank in the ground and whatever laterals are there.
Right.
So it's really just based on the building code, each bedroom is 2 people. If you want to have like a bunk room with a ton of people, then you need to prove that your septic was actually designed larger and not just for 2 people in that bedroom, but it can actually support 6 people that could be in that bedroom, or whatever the occupancy is of the house.
Right.
But how is that gonna be determined? Because if you have 6 people for 2 days, your septic is rated for a household for an average year. So you could say I'm well below the average because I have 6 people in 2 days.
Because the
3 times a month.
the septic's always full, that's how it works. So if you have a lot of people in one weekend, you can overflow the system. It's working properly, the level's constant, right?
The water, yeah.
Water, right, well, that's a leak.
Well, it
Right.
takes time for it to do its thing too, it isn't.
It's solid, the truth.
Yeah,
But if you're constantly renting out a house to 20 people and the septic can only hold 10,
Yeah, but my point was if you're, in other words, if it was a yearly, let's say you had 4 people in the house all year as opposed to 20 one weekend and nobody for 3 months, you know?
yeah, but they're rented.
Is
pretty
this,
much-
how does the septic, you know what I'm getting at, how does it handle something like
Supposed
that?
to be designed to its maximum use, which is if they're renting it for the weekend or the week, and you're gonna have 20 people there, then it should be designed for that rate, for that 20 people. Which, no one builds a house with the intention of living in it. Nobody builds a septic system larger than they need, you know. So if you change the occupancy usage of it, then you have to change the septic system usage of it also,
Yeah, because it's not anybody's residence, it's a rental.
right?
Even if it was a resident, well,
Well, resident,
I know where it's a residence, it's not legal right now. I mean, you can, if there's 10 people in a house, and I know it's not, it's only 1,000-gallon tank.
just drive around 4th of July weekend, there's sometimes 50 cars and what else, there you go. What are they doing, same thing?
Well, the other issue is when it becomes straight rental, does it become commercial? If it becomes commercial or deemed commercial, then the septic system should meet commercial requirements, not residential requirements.
Yeah, because if you own, say, 5 houses on Hadlock, when you don't live on Hadlock, well, you obviously don't live in any of those places.
That's right, they're a business. The other issue, the issue of it is if you have that long weekend or the full week of way too many people, and it does overflow, it's gonna overflow directly into the lake. And that's,
There it goes.
and then APA, DEC, EPA, and every other person in the country is gonna be there, so.
So, and Jeffrey, maybe this is before your time, the soccer camp, how did they ever get approval on their septic system?
it's a giant system out there.
Yeah, but when there's this,
I don't want to speak out of turn, because I'm going by memory, but I think right under print, it says in the event of a failure,
it pumps.
it's gonna overflow into Halfway Creek.
Yeah,
So that means they would have to change their septic system, wouldn't they? Being commercial?
No, it was designed for that, and the town had engineers look at it as well. I was here for all that.
So if that's, in the event of a failure, if that goes into a Class A trout stream,
It's the
that
same problem.
doesn't sound too fair. That's a commercial business with a septic system that probably isn't up to par. But we're gonna go, if in the event that the town wants to do this the way they want to, you're gonna go look at everyone's septic system? I mean, isn't that gonna be another, we're gonna pick and choose who we look at?
Not necessarily, but I mean, to the soccer camp example, they were before this board.
Right?
This board reviewed it, this board had the town's engineer review it, and everybody got a chance to look at it, and come up with a reasonable system that's engineered to certain specs, versus who knows what of somebody's old residence around Hadlock that nobody's opened and nobody knows what's in the ground, and may or may not have been designed for however many people are being offered to stay there on a given day.
But that camp has grown considerably since it was here.
And that was a new system at the time with the claim that if it overflows, it goes into a Class A trout stream.
Do they do anything over there anymore?
You hear them,
Yes.
I don't think I've seen the lights at all.
they're over there.
I was supposed to bring us some soccer, Hartford soccer players over last week.
Yeah, they-
Rained and we had to
During this
cancel.
pandemic, that was one of the preferred places for youth sports. Like, once things started to reopen, a lot of schools started using Golden Goal.
Because it was a school property, because all school properties were shut down.
So, I probably shouldn't say that.
No, but I guess,
You can say it, go ahead.
Chad, to your point, the thought and the goal is, these are commercial properties, let's have them treated as commercial properties and have them before the planning board.
So the town is still after Northern Road.
It's not after anyone, it's looking at regular short-term rentals.
And they should look at the minutes and put it on the website.
Yeah, I talked to gentleman who's I hate your number, I won't call you. He is looking at the air spot now, only stop here. So we're selling this station. We want to put in, he asked about whether the town would allow a concrete crushing company. In other words,
He didn't go.
he didn't call you?
No.
Well, I gave him all your info, so. And I just told him if you want, you gotta come in here and talk to you guys. But,
I don't think that was more big.
well, right, well, that's what I told him. I says, so, what about noise and dust and your, the questions that they would have would be hours of work and,
Right.
all those, questions that you levied to just about anybody else, so, and I told him that's what you guys would be asking, so. Told him to come here, but.
Because in reality, that's not very far from the school.
No.
Right.
It's right across, there's like the brook there, and the school is right there.
Mhm.
Yep.
Dust, a lot of dust,
It could be, yeah.
noise, that's for sure, holy cow.
I've talked to like, in the last 3 months, probably 3 different solar farm companies and potentials, and,
I didn't get them,
yeah, they,
I got.
well, they ask about zoning and all that kind of, well, what corridors, where can we build, and I said, well, really, as far as the town is concerned, you can build anywhere that Niagara Mohawk will allow you to build. And they go, what do you mean? I said, well, if you're not on 3-phase, well,
Right.
you can't do it. So that's what, the corridor is wherever 3-phase is in the town of Fort Anne. So,
Now, I know the town requires a bond for cleaning up the site 30 years down the road. Is that a county thing or is that a town thing?
It's a requirement of the local law that regulates solar in the town of Fort Anne.
So it's a town law. Well, as soon as they discover that it's gonna cost them money to hold that, they seem to disappear.
Yeah,
That's universal, all property owners and municipalities, everybody's requiring it.
Oh,
Just a question of what that number looks like, yeah, Fort Anne isn't unique in requiring that.
It's becoming more common.
It's the rule rather than the exception.
oh. Okay. Anybody got anything else?
I made a motion, a while, half an hour ago.
Thanks for talking to me.
You gotta do it again.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? Very good. Beautiful.
Oh heck, I better abstain, I wasn't even here.
No way, you got your voting, get paid. Come on.
I won't cheat the good taxpayers of Fort Anne.